I made it through this Christmas. Somehow I made it through. Had to make it back somehow so I can mark out with you. We got James, he's extreme. We got Zeus, the god of thunder too. Now at all of you joining us on YouTube, and we're ready to stream. Mark out Mania. Woo! Mania time. Mark out Mania. Saturday morning. It's Mark out Mania.
Keep going.
Oh, that's all I have.
That is hot. That is awesome. That's hot.
Oh man,
that is hot.
I spent about like 10 minutes writing the lyrics last night.
I'm actually envisioning you in a white dress rolling around a stage as you sing.
Oh God, James, don't do that.
I do not do drag, James. I do not do drags.
That was hot. That's hot.
Hola, amigos, and welcome to Mark Out Mania.
What is up, people? Hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas and the week before New Year's. So I hurry up and let's get this over with. Me, double Y, double H. What is up?
Angie. Hola, Angie.
Ooh, awesome. Angie's in the house. I got something on my YouTube is acting up. Angie's in the house. Oh my God! That was awesome.
Oh my God! Did you see what Meef said? He heard Stan Lee was a massive Lex Luger fan.
Stop crossing his dreams, Meef. You're killing us here.
Excelsior!
Oh, shut the fuck
up.
That was an awesome song, Pedro.
Oh, well, awesome. Thank you. Did y'all have a nice Christmas?
Oh, yes.
Woo.
James?
Watch the grandbabies open presents on Skype. And
that's hot. I had a good Christmas. Ate a lot of food I shouldn't have. I actually cut promos on people that I love to. And it was good stuff. It was good stuff.
You know, the best thing about Christmas is, like, when you're a grandparent, is you give kids a noisy, you give them noisy shit. You give them stuff that makes noise and, you know, shit like that. It's like, you know, this is where we get you back for being shit kids. Is we're giving grandkids, you know, we're giving them, you know, like, you know, those interactive toys and things. And
it's the revenge of the grandparents.
It's like, yeah, this is for, you know, keeping us up all night, you know, when you were a baby.
Angie up early on the West Coast, holla.
Oh
my God. Yeah, I had a good Christmas. I can't complain, you know, had a few beers, had some good food. I cut a few promos. I laughed. It was good. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. How about you? Pedro?
I had a really good Christmas. Was all over Southeast Texas like usual, just traveling all over the fucking place. But
yeehaw.
Want to send
366.
Want to send a special thank you to YYH for she sent Stephanie and I a very lovely Christmas present. So thank you very much, YYH. We appreciate it very much.
Double Y, double H, the magical elf of Santa. Loving it. Good job.
So,
number 366. I can't get that shit out of my head.
Yeah. So, Christmas present to myself was a ticket to New Japan in Charlotte.
Yes.
Yes. Good job, Zeus. Good job.
And it's literally 5 days after AML anniversary.
Oh, look at you!
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I'll see Puma King and Bandito, and then 5 days later I'll be seeing the Stars of New Japan.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Kenny Omega.
Well, you know what they were saying is that they're going to split the roster.
Oh,
So like, but I mean, if you think about it, it's a big ass roster.
that's true. And they do have a show the day before in LA.
Right.
You know?
So yeah, so half the roster is going to be in LA and the other half is coming to Charlotte. And so since California's already had 4 shows,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're not gonna screw over Charlotte just to try to make LA look good. You know, so I think like one show is going to get Tanahashi, the other one's going to get Okada. You know, one is going to get Naito, one's going to get Suzuki. You know, so I think it's going to be, like a split of like all the stables. You know, you're going to get like half of each stable in each city, since it's like that.
That shouldn't be bad. That shouldn't be that bad. It should be a pretty good show.
I think it's going to be fun because if you think about it,
how about Okada come out of Ric Flair gimmick? That'd be hot.
But it won't be a lot of, you know, like 5-man matches and 4-man matches.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the streamlining is gonna help, and you know, and it'll all be shaped by Wrestle Kingdom. So like these guys who are going against each other a lot right now, I don't think it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be stuff that people have been seeing. So it'll be, you know, some new matchups and things. I imagine.
Excuse me.
So
okay, it should be good. It should be a good show.
Yeah.
Angie, did you get your tickets or they're still sold out?
No, she said she didn't get it.
No? Oh, brutal.
I know.
Meef is going to see Penta and Phoenix in April.
Yep.
Nice, Meef. Good job, brother.
God, how can they keep getting Phoenix and Penta and they can't get HDF?
I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, and, Phoenix and Penta will be in Texas like twice in February.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a fun card. That one that you were showing us.
The AAW one, or
yeah,
the AAW one looks good.
Because you know, Heather had been going to. She'd been buying a season pass for AAW that was right down the street from her house.
Yeah,
that's kind of hot. You roll out of bed about
she
into the ring.
See him. She got to see him all the time, which is, hey, I'm jelly about that, but hey.
Kaiju Queen, shout out to her.
That's right.
Kaiju Queen. Yeah.
Very excited. More Godzilla stuff popping out.
Yeah, I mean, in the next 2 weeks,
let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you guys a quick question about that. Was everybody happy with Kaiju Christmas?
No.
Yeah.
They played the same movies over and over. Do you remember when
you played the same shit?
Do you remember when they first did this and the 4th of July thing? They played like movies from all the different eras, and a bunch of different movies. You got
the Showa series, the Heisei series, and Millennium. Yeah.
You got like a bunch of different movies. Because you can, I mean, there's so many movies. You can play like a different movie, like not repeat a single one basically without except maybe a few. And now it's just like, here's, 7 or 8 films. We're just going to repeat it for several days in a row.
Heel turn confirmed. Zeus brought Andrew's ticket. That's funny. Yeah, I think I thought it was. I was actually excited, but it was the same movies, and then they had the Matthew Broderick Godzilla and Cloverfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Cloverfield fan, but it doesn't quite fit Kaiju Christmas,
No.
But I was very disappointed.
Here's another thing. If you remember when they first started doing it, some movies they would show in the original Japanese with subtitles.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
don't
that's
show
right,
any
yeah.
of them like that now. It's just
That's
all the
right.
dubs.
Mm-hmm. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
When
El
we
Rey's
fell
falling
out
off.
of love with El Rey, I'm just.
When do we fall out of the way? And you played Zilla and Matthew Broderick 4 times on my TV. No. I did not want to see Nick Tatopoulos. No, thank you. The hell out of here. And Jean Renault. You call this French coffee? No, it sucks. Get out. Get off my TV. No.
I always laugh about that one guy can't understand English until like a cigarette, a light, a little flame is held in front of him.
Oh,
What did
yeah.
you see, old man?
Yeah.
Gojira.
Gojira. Gojira. Oh.
So next time you have a language barrier with someone, just get out a cigarette lighter or something. Where is the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what? So, anybody? I'm doing my traditional nothing for New Year's.
Oh no, I am anti New Year's. I stay home. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't deal with the idiots on the road. I don't deal with the idiots in the bar. I don't deal with the idiots on the streets. And I definitely don't deal with the idiots in my family. So I just stay home alone. I crack open the 6-pack and I chill. That's it.
Because I have not enjoyed New Year's since I was like in college. So it's,
I mean,
even when I was doing security part time, like when New Year's stuff would come up, I'd be like, I'm not available. I'm gonna be out of state, so don't put me on the schedule.
Yeah,
I'd just be like, no, I won't be here. I'm not going.
All those who are celebrating New Year's, please be safe and have a good time. But me personally, nah, man, I'm just
it's a really high risk, bad time.
Yeah, I'm gonna order some pizza. I'll probably do I don't know, Starship Trooper marathon, maybe. Who knows? Well,
at least watch the first one.
Yeah, I know. I can't watch 2 and 3. They're horrible. They're so low budget, it's brutal.
The computer animated one isn't very good either. I think there is some anime, some Japanese anime Starship Troopers on YouTube you can find.
Oh. Really? I'll check that out.
I've seen it come up in my things that you might like to see stuff, but I haven't clicked on it.
Have a good day at work, Angie. Peace. Try to find a New Japan ticket. Come on, get to work. Let's go.
Hey, speaking of getting to work and being out of love with New Year's Eve, what about falling out of love with the WWE?
Oh.
Well, never been in love with it in the first place.
Yeah, Zeus, we all know you were anti-WWE.
It was a us versus them mentality.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll just put it like this. There have moments where, you got the Dudleys in the ring and Bubba Ray Dudley is powerbombing Mae Young through a table and you're like, holy shit. And then in the same breath, you got Mae Young giving birth to a hand. And you're like, holy shit. That just made me change the channel. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with this. Gave birth to a hand. And they even showed afterbirth. Like, what is this?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my horrible. God. Change channel. Click.
Now, Pedro, you grew up as a little baby Hulkamaniac.
Well,
you took your vitamins. You said your prayers. You ate your Hulk Hogan steroids. You did it all.
Your Hulk Hogan underoos on. Yeah, go ahead.
No, okay. My favorites, I think we talked about this before. My favorites were when I was younger were like Junkyard Dog and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But yeah, I mean we weren't like against Hulk Hogan back in the day. We did I did enjoy, like, there is definitely a point in time I was more WWF than NWA for sure.
Which is crazy considering
that, I know.
World class,
I know.
You lived in world class country. I mean,
I mean, we watched that stuff too. It's it's just that we were of that generation. We watched everything.
Well, I mean, you know, I was born and raised. I grew up in, you know, I was born and raised in the Northeast, so I grew up in Hulk Hogan country. You know,
Right.
While you know, like all my friends were saying their prayers and taking their vitamins, I was styling and profiling. Okay.
Yep.
I wanted $300 alligator shoes and a $300 Old Lake Cassini blazer, as Ric Flair cut it in his promo. Okay, I wanted that, so I had to convince all my friends that Ric Flair was better than Hulk Hogan. Okay, I was never a Hulkamaniac, and the one time I rooted for Hogan, the one time in my life I rooted for Hogan, he came out to face Hole and Nash. I'm like, yes, those assholes are finally gonna get beat up, and what does he do? He forms the New World Order, and I almost threw up in my mouth. Horrible. The one time I rooted for Hogan. Anyway, but like, you know, I was a big WWF guy only because those were the only shows, you know, because it was available in my area, you know. So I would go to tons of shows. But you know, like as soon as the advent of cable hit, and you know, I was watching, you know, Georgia Championship Wrestling, I was watching World Class Championship Wrestling, you know, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, the Road Warriors. You know, I was like, Ric Flair is the man. He's the true world champion. He's the true world heavyweight champion. So it was always a back and forth for me. All of my idiot friends were all Okamaniacs. I was styling and profiling. You know, I used to argue. I was a big NWA guy, although I did like the WWF. I always thought the WWF was okay. All right, I'll try to preach it like this. Every time I wanted to watch wrestling, I watched NWA Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Right.
And every time I wanted to watch a TV show, I watched the WWF.
Yeah, I mean the WWF was like a cartoon, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, they, like you were saying about Ric Flair being the real world champion. The NWA title did feel more like a sport, like the sport, right? It felt more like sport, like this is the real world title.
As Shane Douglas put it, the sport of professional wrestling, you know?
Yeah, you got a little spit on your sport there.
Yeah, I know, right? But it, you know, it was, you know, I mean, I love the Attitude Era. It was great. I loved the Monday Night Wars. It was great. I love WCW. I love the NWA. But there were times where, like, I just couldn't watch WWE anymore. Like, they forced me to change the channel. And I think that has a lot to do with the ego of the people who run WWE. Vince, you know, I was like, oh, my God, what the hell are you doing? And it just made me change the channel. I mean, some of the booking, the squash matches, it's just the storylines. Katie Vick. I mean, you know, come on, man. You're humping a dead girl in the casket. I'm like, what's going on with these people? You know, I'm like, oh, and I fell out of love with WWE for a long time. Actually, you know what brought me back was CM Punk.
I mean, kind of.
He brought me back to WWE.
Isn't the theme of this episode basically like how many times have we all like kind of like stopped watching? It's gonna be a gazillion times. Yeah,
I mean it's like, you know, they've done so good, and then they just turn around and fuck it all up, and it's like, why?
I mean, it's like I was just gonna say, if you think about the current WWE, if you think about who they have such a massive roster of so many talented people, but we don't want to watch it.
I think their roster's too big, and then everybody gets lost in it.
Yep.
It wouldn't matter if they had good stories. It wouldn't matter. But sifting through the garbage is no fun. It's
no,
you know,
it's not.
I mean, you know, I just, you know, I tried watching, you know, Raw when Jericho was there, and I just like it wasn't worth the other 95% of the crap to get to the, you know, those couple of nuggets, you know, when I can watch it on, you know, YouTube, you know, and it's just I mean, I've never been you know, it's just I've never been a big fan, and you know, the whole thing, like when I was thinking about this, you know, I was driving around the mountains of North Carolina this past Thursday, is, what made me think is the whole reason that we're in this situation in the first place is because Hogan decided to go back to WWF, and, because, he felt that was his best place, because the people in fucking the AWA were, we've been wrestling for 400 years and we look at.
They were trying to rob Hogan too, though, not for nothing. I mean, because I'm not the biggest Hogan fan, but Vern Gagne was trying to collect money from his Japan tour, from he forbid him to do this.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like the AWA wasn't smart enough to put the belt on him. They weren't smart enough to make him into a star.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, Hogan's, little flirtation with the NWA, where he thought about it, he ultimately decided against it, probably because he saw that Flair was going to be the man there. He probably saw, hey, well, if I go to NWA, that's now it's about to become, Flair's deal. And, if they're into a big time, if they're into, if they're heavily invested into him, I might never be utilized the way I need to be, but if you think about it, I mean, if Hogan just, went from, stayed with the AWA, if they'd have treated him right for a while and then, and gone to the NWA, or just even if he could just stayed in the AWA, I mean, they had a deal with ESPN. What kind of wrestling promotion?
Yeah.
What was that a deal with a TV deal on ESPN?
Mm-hmm. And he was, and Hogan was already over. He was huge in the AWA.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch those matches, like the fake title win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Vern Gagne being a dick.
Watch the crowd.
Ego.
But look at the crowd and that stuff. They're just losing their shit. The dude was super over.
I mean, I've never liked Hogan, but I mean, he could have changed the whole sport. WWF would not be around.
No,
right now.
Yep.
I don't think they would have made it. I don't think that there wouldn't have been a WrestleMania without Hulkamania.
I totally agree.
And
they would have had to make Piper a face.
Right.
And it wouldn't have worked.
No, because you could have had Hogan. It wouldn't have been satisfying to see Piper become a face without being so hated in the first place.
Yeah,
exactly.
He had to be opposing Hogan to.
Right, but exactly there was no megastar baby faces there at the time. Not in 83, 84, 85.
I think the biggest star as a face was Snuka, wasn't it? At that time?
Snuka was super, super over, but I mean, he had a specific issue entering into the horizon.
He had limited mic skills. I mean, he couldn't cut promos that carried a massive storyline.
Yeah, but, I mean, he was popular, and I mean, Junkyard Dog was still, doing well, but I mean, I think back then he was still fresh in WWF when 85 rolled around. He was, he did a lot in Mid-South and things like that. So
he ruled Mid-South. He ruled
in Georgia and some out there, me, Snuka out there murdering women, just the one that we know of.
Bill Watts or JYD, he saw money signs,
Right. And then, so, the whole thing is, and where would we be if Hogan had still ended up in WWF? Let's say, there was no stopping, because there was probably no stopping, the death of the AWA, just because, Bockwinkel and Gagne and all those guys that were in charge were just so
rock and roll
out of touch.
No.
Yeah, they were so out of touch with fans.
Yeah.
That
I did like Colonel De Beers though, but no.
Cold beers.
Yeah. Yeah, cold beers.
Cold beers.
Yeah.
Cold beers versus Sergeant S. Laughter.
Yeah, that
did nobody ever pick up on
horrible.
that? Oh, Sergeant S. Laughter and cold beers.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, this is where we're at. Is if the AWA had put the AWA world title on Hogan, and then they went out of business, and then if Hogan had gone to the NWA and he'd have won the world title there, and then won WWF titles, how hard would it be to still say that Flair would be one of the greatest of all time over Hogan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's
no, it's right. Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, most people who aren't career Hulkamaniacs will say that Flair was greater than,
of course, yeah, he was
than Hogan, right? But if you had put the NWA and AWA title on Hogan, in his past, oh my God, it would be a much different conversation.
Yeah. I honestly don't think I could be wrong, but I honestly didn't think that Hogan had the chops to have to carry the NWA title.
No, he didn't, but temporarily, but even
as it was back then.
Right. But even as a part, as a part-time, a transitional,
AKA Tommy Rich, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even how Steamboat had it for a few months.
Yeah.
Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin.
And Double Y, Double H, she brings up, she remembers when Hogan was Thunderlips.
Thunderlips, yeah.
That's
Thunderlips.
Geeky-kun, that's what got Hogan fired from the WWF in the first place. Was doing that.
Vince didn't want him to do the movie. Exactly. Vince didn't want him to do the movie. He said, "You're not going to do that movie." And Hogan said, "Oh yeah, watch me." And
exactly. And that's it's like, isn't that amazing? It's like you guys threw away your whole future.
Meath. I like Sting. He's not better than Flair. Pipe down.
No. And Sting will tell you that too.
Yeah.
Sting will be the first one to admit that.
Yeah.
Sting knows that Flair made Sting. And what's even funny too is like even Flair is super high on Sting. And like when he said, when Flair said, if Sting had gone to WWF in the 80s, he would have been bigger than Hogan. I'm like, no, it took until 88. You had to make Sting, dude. You had to do it. He wouldn't have been that good if it hadn't been. If he'd gone to WWF, he'd have never been. He'd have never been great.
Ric Flair who made Sting.
Yes.
Yeah, he'd have never been great if it hadn't been for Flair.
All you gotta do is look at Sting's tag team partner, the Ultimate Warrior. That says it all.
I think
that's not fair.
An interesting.
That is fair. Yeah, because everybody looked at the Ultimate Warrior. He was the next Hulk Hogan. All right, he couldn't carry a match. He couldn't carry anybody in the match. Anybody. He was horrible in the ring. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, Luger. Me with the Luger.
Shut up, me. No, but I mean, I there are moments where the WWF had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, I still think to this day, I love watching Stone Cold Steve Austin beat the shit out of Vince McMahon. Right. That was like the best storyline ever had.
The Attitude, the Attitude Era, the Stone Cold
and then they fuck it up with Stone Cold Steve Austin playing the guitar going, "Kumbaya, Kumbaya." That made me change the channel. That's it. I'm done with WWF.
And what about Kurt Angle playing Jimmy Craig Corn on a ukulele?
That was horrible.
I'm like, if you finish singing that complete chorus, there's gonna be some problems in your PR, okay? Because that is not it's not even politically correct. It's just a completely wrong thing to be singing in the 20th century.
Yeah, you can't say that.
or 21st.
Oh my goodness.
Because that
Yeah,
was like
Andre the
2000.
Giant, double Y, double H. Andre the Giant was awesome too. Yeah, but Andre the Giant though, he was all over the place, but he was most famous where? At WWF. He was in the NWA, he was in the AWA, he was in New Japan, All Japan, but he was most famous in the WWF. And I got to give credit to Vince Day. He made Andre. He put Andre on the map.
Well, Andre would have been on the map wherever he went.
Well, yeah, but he turned Andre to a household name.
But Andre was kind of already a household name, wasn't he?
WrestleMania 3 hit, and he was a household name.
Yeah, but he was Sasquatch in the $6 Million Man.
I love that. I love $6 Million Man. That was in the 70s, and that was a huge deal. I remember my parents were telling me, "Oh, we know you're going to love $6 Million Man this week because Andre the Giant is in there." I'm like, Andre the Giant? He's like, yeah, Bigfoot, And Zero just hit the chat. What's up, Zero? Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He was, God, he looked so intimidating at Sasquatch. That was awesome.
Double Y, double H, that hurts. That hurts. Stone Cold has no hair, baldy. Really?
Really? Oh my God, is that a shot at Zeus? Double Y, double H, slinging arrows.
No. Oh my goodness!
They get a thunderbolt down on her ass.
Good job, double Y, double H.
The next tsunami's on me. Okay,
damn Zeus.
It's a 7.0 earthquake out there, 30 miles down.
But and for all the shit that we give WWF, NWA wasn't perfect. WCW wasn't perfect either.
Right.
They had their issues too. Whoever decided to put Paul Roman as a horseman should get shot. Okay, so they had their issues too. But
and then the whole thing with that when they brought in Hogan, they overdid him. They put him over so fast.
Yeah.
That it was too sudden. It was just like an instant Hogan takeover.
Right. I actually felt bad for the Iron Sheik. I was like, damn, he had zero title run. I felt bad for Backlund too because after 5 years of the strap, he was treated like shit.
Yeah, Backlund went from being the man to immediately in an instant. You're gone.
Nobody booked him after that.
No,
not until he went back to WWF.
Mm-hmm.
He did do
15 years later.
Yeah, and then he put him in a squash match with Diesel. He was the man who the face of your company for 5 years who carried the belt, and you squash it on a 13-second match against Kevin Nash. Are you kidding me? The most overrated wrestler of all time is Kevin Nash. The only thing he does good are fucking shoot promos on YouTube. He can't wrestle a dick. That guy pulled his hamstring tied to tie his boot. What the hell?
Oh my goodness. Okay? Oh my goodness.
He's so overrated. Brutal.
I will say.
You're going to job out Bob Backlund, the man who held the belt for 5 years, to that idiot? Oh, no.
When Bob Backlund beat Bret Hart for the title, that was pretty awesome. The whole deal with Owen Hart convincing their mother to throw in the towel.
Yeah. There's so many things that WWF/E did so right. They had such good stuff, and then they just blew my mind, and it just made me change the channel with stupid shit. You had everybody watching Brian Pillman with a gun in the house. What's wrong with you people?
But
I remember that
they literally made a cartoon for Hogan.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is just like the wrestling. It's just as preposterous and just as ridiculous. And one of my problems I've always said with Hogan is he wrestled so much as a heel, he never really changed. and they, because he was doing, he'd do the back scratches on guys.
Yeah,
eye pokes. He would do, he'd throw guys over the top rope. I mean, he changed that whole rule of wrestling because he wouldn't stop throwing guys over the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, he's the champion. And I mean, Jesse the Body, would be on commentary flipping out like, why isn't that a disqualification, Mean Gene? You just threw the man over the top rope. Like, well, I don't think we have that rule here anymore, Jesse. You're like, well, why the hell not? He just threw him. And forever, it's always been a rule. You throw the guy over the top rope. He's, it's like, oh my God. Yeah. So, he was always.
You do a good Jesse the Body, Zeus. I like that. I ain't got time to bleed. Yeah, there you go. And also plus, you know what? I don't want to hear about, but James and Jimmy, the whole NWO changed the face of wrestling. Okay, the whole point of having a faction like that is to put the next generation of wrestlers over.
Right.
Yeah.
But they put themselves over.
Yeah.
Exactly. All they did was put themselves over and line their own pockets and did nothing for the business. All right. So as much hype and as much credit as the NWO was given, okay, it's self-imploded because they did the one thing that wrestling is meant to do: put the guys over, and they put no one over but themselves.
Yeah,
that's not how you build a company.
No, and the thing was, there was so much stuff that was stupidly done about that, and it was just like there should have been an ending. And we've said that before. There should have been an ending to the NWO. Like we've said that the Wolfpack could have gone on and still been the cool heels.
Yeah,
but exactly, Meef. I mean, it did. It killed WCW. They kept going, and
I mean, I'm changing the channel from Vince. I'm changing the channel from Vince because he does something stupid. They're like, oh my God, WWE again? No, that's it. I'm done with it. And then I turn over to WCW and I see Buff Bagwell and Judy Bagwell. I'm like, no, fucking Judy Bagwell's got an NWO shirt on. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Oh yeah, and then when Dusty went NWO, that was you're talking about they jumped a whole fucking Evel Knievel row of sharks.
Yeah, no.
I'm still laughing about Meef's thing about someone digging up a giant skeleton in the future.
Oh God, what did he say?
He was talking about, you said Andre the Giant was like his remains were in North Carolina, and he was saying in the future someone will be digging up a giant skeleton. But
I'm pretty sure make a mecha Andre the Giant.
Right? Yeah, I heard the same thing, Zeus. Yeah, that he was cremated. Yeah.
I would still take WCW 2000 over the NyQuil that had his modern WWE all day. Zero.
Well,
hey, listen, it's a toss-up to me. It's a toss-up to me.
That's a
toss-up.
Let me throw something out there. Let me throw something out here. So I feel like for this conversation is more relevant, really, to talk about sort of the last 10 years or however many years, because at some point after WCW is gone and ECW is gone and, et cetera, WWE becomes basically synonymous with wrestling for all people.
Ugh.
To some extent, right?
Yeah.
True.
No, I'm not saying there isn't wrestling outside the WWE.
Oh no! I know you're not.
I'm just saying it's synonymous with wrestling. So
it became pro wrestling.
So the moments where, say, the WWE turns you off in this time period feels like worse, right? Because it feels like like wrestling and the popular concept is sucks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Pedro. And then you got nowhere to go after that. Because it's not like, it's not easy for everybody to find Ring of Honor on TV or like New Japan. And this was before Lucha Underground, stuff like that. There was nowhere for you to really go. So, like how it was perceived, it was either WWE or nothing.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, because you know, I had that you know, my time period away from wrestling was basically 2005 until like, you know, what, 3 years ago, 2016.
What sent you away from wrestling?
It is the Benoit. Chris Benoit killing,
Yeah.
Oh, in
killing,
2007.
killing
Yeah.
Nancy and Danny.
Yeah.
And then himself, and I couldn't handle that anymore because Eddie had already died, and you know, and it's, you know, I've gotten over, you know, my hatred for what he did, but I it still hurts.
Yes.
Because, you know, because there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot more reasons besides steroids of why something like that would happen. He was losing so many of his friends. You know, Eddie died.
Yeah, severe CTE also.
Right, Biff Wellington died.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry Martel was killed by her husband. You know, he lost all these people that were really close to him. And the fact that he didn't have the good sense to take time away from the sport. He kept going and going and going. He never took time away. And it's like, you know, for anybody who ever worked with,
he was even booked to win the ECW title that other night, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you know, you look at how much time that he spent wrestling with other greats, and he just had this thing in his head where he needed to keep going. And it was obviously, you know, there's so much brain damage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he had a lot. I mean, they said you know, his brain was like a 75-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Yeah, it was in bad shape.
You know, because of so many concussions and, you know, all these terrible things. It's like, you know, it's a wonder he didn't kill more people. You know,
a lot of people were angry at wrestling at the time. A lot of people.
Yes.
And I said, look, man, I said I can't be part of this anymore. I just got to step back away. You know, I couldn't deal with it. And, you know, I just said, I'm done. And it did hurt because, you know, by that time, I mean, they were trying to do the little revival with ECW, and, you know, they put the belt on Rob, and, you know, of course, he pissed that away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, it's just so many people just, you know, being stupid. You know, like I said, I mean, if anybody ever saw Ricky Steamboat wrestle, and didn't realize that man took large chunks of time away from the business and came back more popular than ever, every single time. Why more people didn't go through that? It shows you that the businesses, especially Vince and those guys, were pushing people. It's like, look, man, we need you out there every night.
Yeah.
Got to have you out there. You know, you got to be wrestling 4 or 5 nights a week. You know, we need you on every pay-per-view. We need you to have these big, massive matches all the time. You know, you got to wow the crowd. You got to do suplex. You got to hit your head on a ring post. You got to do all this stuff. And we need you, you know, all the time and everywhere, and all this travel and everything. It's not fucking healthy.
No, and you know what, Zeus? That's a good point that you bring up too, because the whole business was changing, and the wrestlers weren't. Because there were a lot of people who still thought they were in the early '80s, going from town to town. All they did was wrestle, drink, party, do drugs, get fucked up, and go to that next town. And the entire business was changing, where you couldn't do that anymore. You had to keep your body and your mind in tip-top shape. You know, because it was more exposed. It was more, they were trying to get the viewers back. Wrestling also exploded again. It was everywhere, and all these wrestlers were all stuck in that mindset where I'm going to do it like I used to do it. You know, you can't do that anymore. You know, especially in the age of social media now, everything is different. Everything is out there, and it was starting to explode at that time. You know. And all these guys, the wrestlers had to change with the business. You know,
right? All these guys that we lose early. I mean, the amount of wrestlers that don't make it to 65 is staggering.
Stunning, yeah, stunning.
Yes.
And how many ECW guys have we lost? I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't want to bring that up at the at the retrospective, but I mean it's a valid
All
point.
you had to
know?
do was look at Sandman and New Jack, and they look like they were in fantastic shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
brutal.
I mean, we lost Balls, Axel,
Mhm.
Big Dick Dudley,
Yeah.
Yeah. Kronos, Saturn's in terrible shape. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, there's just so many guys that are they're practically crippled. I mean, it was 1999 when I saw Tommy Dreamer, and he had, he'd just been to the doctor and didn't know if he was going to wrestle anymore because he had those herniated discs in his back. I mean, that was 17 years ago, 18 years ago when I saw him.
And then he was in LU this year,
Right,
brutal.
and he's still going. And he wrestles like every freaking weekend. Yeah, kids have story. Tell me why all your friends are dead. I demand an answer.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
God, yeah. Well, it's
it reminds me of that idiot kid at the retrospective. My God!
Exactly. That's me saying.
Yeah.
Kid steps forward. Tell me all your friends are dead. I demand an answer.
Oh my goodness. What about what if that kid and Armbar Audio?
Oh, we're gonna get into that. Oh no!
We won't get into that.
No, because
we'll leave that one for another. That'd be we'll leave that for another.
Because I would go on an epic rant and rip those fuckers, and they'll probably DM me, and I swear to God, I would tell them meet me behind the alley because I'll show you what a real ECW old school guy looks like, and I'll clock the top beat. Like, forget about it. Oh my God,
James,
I'll need a heart transplant when I'm done. Okay.
James, you're just one of those fucking people who still chant ECW.
Oh yeah, right, exactly, right. Oh my God, those guys had me. Who are those guys? You still them old guys that chant? Yeah. I'll show you ECW. Fucking try chanting that with my fist on your throat, you saucy bastard.
But the Eddie Guerrero when he died. First off, that year, 2005, is that the year he died?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
So he, as you know,
turned a lot of people off from wrestling too.
He was having an amazing year. I remember my brother Larry, him and I we would call each other once a week, and like we would be talking about, did you see, Eddie's promo? Did you see Eddie's this? And we would just be marking out about Eddie Guerrero like every single week. Like, can you believe he's like gotten even better after all these years? Like, this is incredible. He's the best person on the planet. And then he died. And it hit me really hard. Like, I know me, it hit me like super hard. And then they did that freaky stuff like months later with like Randy Orton saying Eddie's in hell and all this
it's
stuff.
Another reason why to change the channel. It's another reason why you were turned off from WWE. I don't care if you got permission from the family. I don't care if you got permission from I don't give a shit where you get permission from. There are some things you just leave alone, okay? You never make fun of somebody dying. Never. No. You don't do it. You don't do it. You just don't do it.
They're still doing it.
Have some cool,
They're still doing it.
I mean,
they're doing
the whole thing with Paige and Charlotte?
Well, what about Natty and
I mean, come on, man.
Ruby Riott and bringing up Tim Neidhart's death? They had him on a table.
So poorly done.
Yeah, it was bad. It was horribly done.
It's like,
bad.
it's like they broke my sunglasses that my dad gave me. Why the fuck were you wearing those?
You know the one person who they never made fun of, and they never touched on it because it's taboo. And they will never. Nobody ever has the balls to take on the death of Owen Hart.
No.
That's the subject. I think if Vince opens that can of worms, I think he'd be murdered.
When I think about the wrestling deaths that affected me the most, there was Andre the Giant, Owen Hart, and Eddie Guerrero. Those are the three that affected me the most. The Benoit thing affected me, but not in that way. That was that was like an angry effect, like Zeus was talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah. I think Vince McMahon actually took the right. He did the right thing after Owen died. Because you can't find that Raw anywhere.
No,
okay? All right, because he took that Raw
and the Chris Benoit tribute Raw.
Yeah.
Which just shows you how much further, how much of a piece of shit he was, because he knew there was something fishy that had happened.
Yeah.
And he still did that tribute.
Mm-hmm.
He could have waited. He could have waited for everything to be announced, but no. He went grabbed those ratings and one last time showed all that great. Gave the fans what they thought they wanted, what we all kind of expected when somebody tragically dies. But boy, that's but we knew nothing.
No.
We all knew really nothing. They were hiding a lot of that.
Well, actually,
the first few days.
Are you talking about the Benoit?
Yeah.
I remember very vividly online there were like whispers going on that this maybe they shouldn't be doing this because there's some suspicious things.
Right. Yeah.
I remember that like immediately.
I remember hearing that, but as far as like what people like, you're talking about whispers, but like publicly it was all just this tragic thing, and then nobody knows why and what happened, and it was pretty fucking obvious what fucking happened.
Yeah.
I shut off wrestling after a while after Benoit too. I was like, because
and that was
everybody and their mother got involved. Everybody and their mother got involved. All these congressmen and like TV, and I was like, it's become a circus. I was like, wow.
Nancy Grace.
Yeah.
Nancy Grace is on like a brief crusade against wrestling.
Shut up. It's just So because I tuned out for a while too. I was like, you know what? I don't want to hear any of this shit.
Yeah. So the Benoit thing was 2007. I thought it was earlier than that, but it was
2007.
That was 2007. So I pretty much stopped watching wrestling for about 10 years.
But
almost 10 years.
What really got me back into wrestling? Like I was watching Raw like intermittently here and there. I automatically fell in love with NXT because I thought it was wrestling the way it should be.
Right.
But everybody was done with the kayfabe thing. It was all real. It was all shoot, this, that, the third. And then this little promotion comes along called Lucha Underground, where it tells you it's okay to be kayfabe again.
Right. This is our
okay
story
again. Right.
Not to mention it. This is kayfabe. Plus, this is a more fantastic world than you've ever seen in the world of wrestling.
Yes.
Right. And all of us believed. We were like, yes.
Well, and then like everything that had come before in wrestling, like with, like with Kevin Sullivan and his occult and supernatural type things, like nobody, like it was never treated as real.
Right.
Yeah,
and the Purple Haze and all those guys. Yeah.
Right. Well, it was all like, well, they're all crazy. They never made it legitimate. Kevin Sullivan's really, doing some really dirty shit with the devil and things. And,
everybody just thought he was nuts. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. He was always portrayed as somebody who was just, a little crazy dude. And he was just able to convince other, people around him to be as crazy as he was, and then by the time that, somebody tried doing things where, like with the Undertaker and things like that. I mean, that was done a little bit more where the promotion was behind it.
Right. And it was done so over the top too,
Right. And it was done so over the top, but there was, we were all still yelling, fake and, we didn't like that kind of shit. And,
Mm-hmm.
You know, because and it you know, I think in part of that is you didn't have that really that you didn't have anybody buying into it before then. You know, so we didn't have, you know, because you know the fight for kayfabe, you know, it's like, well, this is real, you know, well, then why should we believe, you know, this?
Right.
You know, then why, you know, you keep making these things so much more crazy and fantastic. What am I supposed to believe? Are you really a badass, or is this really, you know, is it, or, you know, is this whole Undertaker story real? Because we know it's not, because, you know, Undertaker was Mean Mark, you know,
Yeah.
in WCW.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man, the skyscrapers, remember?
yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, the fight for, you know, the fight for stories and a universe unto itself, you know, was never put together like Lucha Underground.
Right, right. No, I totally agree. And you know that what got me really back swinging into the, you know, and I was like, you know, I was loving it. I was like, yes, you know, and yes, I was arguing with my brother. Isn't that Ricky Banderas? No, that's Mil Muertes, God damn it. You know, I was like, you know, I was believing, you know.
So Pedro, did we really get like your, was it the
I mean,
amassing of the deaths that made you fall out?
I mean, I think because I always watch so much different wrestling all the time.
Yeah.
If I for me, it's always a little different. Like some people, they feel almost like betrayed by their childhood when they fall out of interest with whatever promotion that they watch forever. And because, but for me, it's like I've always watched different things. So say like things with the Benoit deal. Maybe I stopped watching WWE, but I'm already following like CMLL. I'm following, you know, there's all these other things I follow, so it's not as big a, you know, a thing for me. Maybe it is for.
And I tell you, I did not have, and you know, and you know, some of the other things that I'd been battling too was the lack of cable.
Yeah.
And really, I never got into the message boards,
Right.
you know, way back in the day. So like,
Wow, I remember those. Yeah, AOL.
Right.
Okay.
So like, you know, wrestling boards and stuff like, you know, the early internet stuff where you could, you know, where people could share stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't in on that. And like I said, when there were times where we didn't have cable, you know, or internet or things, you know, for a while, you know, that kind of, you know, that was kind of the, you know, some of the, where it is easier to stay away from things when you can't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
yeah, I agree.
so, and then, you know, and then I started to really get into MMA.
Right. Yeah.
You know, MMA hurt, hurt pro wrestling a lot, especially that first Ultimate Fighter finale. That was huge. That was one of the last big things that was like, literally was word of mouth. Like I literally was one of those people who I called 3 other people on the phone and said, turn on Spike TV right now. You got to see this fight, this Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin. You've got to see these guys fighting right now. I said, I
remember everyone telling each other that.
Yeah. And I mean, and because they said that the ratings between, you know, from round to round to round got bigger and bigger and bigger because people were literally by word of mouth, you know, bringing more eyes to the TVs, you know, and that was, and I was like, man, that was such a great fight. And, you know, and then, you know, you just kept getting more, you know, and then they had the, you know, the Tito versus Ken Shamrock Ultimate Fighter. That was season 3. And that was huge. And that helped bring me in because of Shamrock. You know, it's like, you know who Shamrock is, you know who Tito is, you know, and they still got all this bad blood, you know, with each other. And
well, like even before Ken Shamrock, it was Dan Severn.
Right. Dan Severn was, Dan Severn, Don Fry, you know, and Severn especially because he was the NWA World Champion when he won a UFC. And that's a really crazy thing to think
That's
about.
what actually made me watch the UFC for the first time. It was Dan Severn.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm like, hold on, he's the NWA champion and he fights MMA. I gotta check this. Right?
And he was a badass.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of lines, a lot of things getting blurred, and a lot of things that were, just getting harder to find, and so. There was, and then there was nothing but, WWE and TNA was hard to find, and I certainly wasn't paying $10 a week to watch
that was ridiculous
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
what was the precursor to TNA? Wasn't it WWA?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Out of Australia, remember that?
Right. Yeah, that. Isn't that where the "I don't know" promo comes from? The Luger, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will admit that I got those WWA pay-per-views and I got the first however many TNA ones.
Woof.
Yeah.
Good job, Pedro.
Yeah. the WWA ones were terrible. They were
harsh. They were brutal, man. Sting and that was disgusting.
That giant dude that was in like the new Mad Max, and he was in Troy. That he was like a world champion.
Oh, Nathan Jones.
Nathan Jones, yeah.
Wasn't he a world champion in WWE? He was like the only WCW guy that won that belt.
He actually had laxating nipples, I heard.
No,
he was had some issues with steroids and it was coming out in his body. So, and apparently, he was trying to do an interview while, there were right when he won the belt, I think it was, or something like that, and he was having issues with his chest. All that shit was coming out of his body. Disgusting. Don't do steroids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh my God.
That was a precursor to the future of WWA. There it goes.
To what you're saying, Zeus, I remember like Galavision, how they would show CMLL, and then at some point they would also be showing AAA, and then at one point they stopped showing CMLL and they're only showing AAA. And then it got all confusing for a while, like what was being shown and what wasn't being shown, and how old the thing you were watching was, and so I could see that being
a wrestling program. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was tough back in the day to find shit.
Zero just he brought up an old one here.
Oh God,
James, I'm sure you remember XPW.
Oh God,
XPW. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got a few tapes. Yep.
That was I got a few tapes. That was the biggest train wreck. Mm-hmm. They made ECW look like they really knew what they were doing all the time.
Yeah, XPW was brutal.
Remember the Messiah?
Oh man, how about Lizzie Borden and God,
he almost had his fucking fingers cut off.
Yeah.
I remember that because it was like a drug issue. Like some sort of drug disagreement?
No, he was messing with the boss's wife.
Oh,
he was having an affair with Lizzie Borden, and that was the Rob Black's. That was the boss.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's exactly what Zero's bringing up is that a lot of XPW was throwing shots at ECW and. Mm-hmm. And then
you go to the old ECW arena for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you remember when Shane Douglas and Chris Candido went there?
Yeah, I remember Shane Douglas cutting his promo against Hogan and NWA, WCW.
He called the dude from WCW up and was like, "Man, I fucking quit."
Yeah.
Like he's on an XPW show and he like Candido got out of the ring. He's like, you can do that. I'm going out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I buried my XPW tapes. I don't know where they're at.
I got they all those are bit to dust. I think.
Yeah, that and then you got Combat Zone Wrestling too. Oh man,
Well,
CZW.
and they're still
Zandig.
around. That's the crazy
Zandig.
thing.
What?
Yeah.
Didn't like Dean Ambrose? Didn't he do stuff
Yeah.
in CCW?
Yeah.
Yep, he was a CZW. Oh yeah, Pedro. Actually, real quick.
Yes.
In the promo art, all right, in the promo art for our show today,
Yes.
you picked Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I'm not asking why.
Oh yeah.
I just find them boring as fuck. I mean,
Okay.
I just find them really boring.
That's really fair because
I mean,
they to me they just go through the motions.
Yeah.
Every time I've sat through them having a match, I'm so not impressed.
Like Dean Ambrose, he had at some points he has kind of charisma, like in terms of his promos and stuff, but like his in the ring, he's terrible in my opinion. I hate that one the thing where he like goes against the ropes and like that sort of that clothesline he does. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It just he does it so bad. And then like Seth Rollins, my problem with him is like besides just being terrible on the mic and stuff, like he can do like so many different moves, right? Like he can do a ton of moves, and he's like, I'm gonna show everyone I can do all of them. And it's like, but that's not really great in wrestling. You should have kind of a specific set of things you do.
Well, you should be telling a story. I think that I think Bret Hart did a lot of that.
Right.
Well, he always had to hit those same 12 moves.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always going to hit you with the inverted atomic drop and follow it up with my clothesline. I'm always going to do this. I'm always going to do that. That's one of the reasons I never thought he was as good as he thinks he is.
I'm going to give you another reason why I changed the channel from WWE back in the day. Okay, I was a big fan of the Ron Simmons versus Vader matches in WCW. Okay, he's the first black world heavyweight champion. He's a WCW heavyweight champion. Ron Simmons, All-American from Florida State, ultimate badass. I'm like, yeah, I love Ron Simmons. I was a big Ron Simmons fan.
Yeah.
Right. He was awesome, man. He was badass. Yep. I even liked him in Doom. Okay.
Yeah. We all loved Ron Simmons. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he comes to the WWE and he's wearing a fucking powder blue helmet with fucking shoulder pads that flaps. He was like a stunt double from fucking Troy, and his name is Farouk. I'm like, dude, that's the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. What are you doing to him? Change the channel.
Yeah,
and you go to Farouk, and then you put him with Sonny, the fucking whore of whores. Are you kidding me?
Wait, she listen to the podcast?
No, I don't give a shit.
She might.
She's doing porn. Come on.
Oh my god.
She is. It's horrible. Oh, I gotta roll around in flour and go for the wet spot. Brutal.
Holy shit. I wish I could remember.
Expressed by James Sarno and this podcast, or James Sarno and James Sarno.
I wish I could remember where I saw this. Someone wrote up a review of Sonny's adult movie as if it was a wrestling show, and it is hilarious. I wish I could remember where I saw it though, but that write up was really hilarious. But.
Oh, I'm telling you, she's horrible. But they put Ron Simmons with Sonny. He looked like a backwoods gladiator. It was disgusting. And then call him Farouk, and
he looked like a He-Man action figure.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm Man at Arms. No, you suck. Right. It's horrible.
And so ridiculous. It's like, how are we supposed to take? It's like, once again, it's just the we know already problem.
Yeah. How do you do that to the WCW World Heavyweight Champion?
I don't know.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Let me say real quickly. I also had Brock Lesnar in the promo art, and the main reason why is because, I mean, do you want to watch Brock Lesnar anymore in WWE?
Nah, he's a fucking waste.
I mean, whatever
Max
excitement he
Conan is
used
best.
to bring, he doesn't bring anymore. You're like, oh, again, that's okay.
He's overrated. He's overrated. I mean, him and Kevin Nash should hang out together. I mean, the two most overrated guys.
Plus, you know, Brock has the worst attitude.
Yes,
that's because he doesn't love the business. He wasn't grown up in the business.
It doesn't even matter. You don't have to love the business. You could at least be nice.
Yeah,
you know,
about profession.
You know,
come on, he's married to Sable. What do you expect?
Well, yeah, I mean that says a lot about both of their personalities.
Yeah,
I feel sorry for their children because they're, you know, oof, Jesus Christ! You talk about two of the worst personalities to have as parents.
I'm so glad Mark Merrill got out of that. Good job.
Yeah. You know, like I said, it's you know, that's you know, maybe we're gonna have to follow this up with a much more positive show.
Yes.
Yeah,
we chose a weird topic to end the year on, I guess.
Well, you know what we could do? We could do next week, in part, if not in whole. We can talk about Wrestle Kingdom next week.
That's an idea. Yeah.
Because that's well, it's like early Thursday into Friday.
And access. I know not everyone has access, but they'll be showing.
They're showing the same day. Yeah.
Yeah, the same day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about paying the $10 just and get a whole month worth of New Japan World and just, you know, streaming at my leisure.
Right.
They got a lot of good stuff, Zeus. They got a lot of good stuff. And aren't they gonna have are they gonna start showing WoW too in the 19th?
Show what?
Because I think they're gonna show WoW.
Oh, Access.
Oh yeah, on Access, yeah.
Access will be showing, the women of wrestling, starting on the 18th, 19th, something like that.
Yeah, man. So
and that's Cobra Moon is going to be on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
not Thunder Rosa, Cobra Moon.
Cobra Moon, her, Tessa Blanchard, a few others. Yeah.
Santana Garrett.
Which
is interesting because Holodead is on WoW.
Mm-hmm.
But not Thunder Rosa.
Unless she's playing two characters. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
All right, well, this has been a fun show full of bitching and moaning.
Yes. Hold on, Zeus. In all fairness, it was a year's worth of angst just to get out finally, you know? It was like, how about if we purge all the bad feeling from 2018 as we venture to 2019 and hopefully Lucha Underground season 5. How about that?
That's the right attitude.
You know, purge all the bullshit out and let's bring back Lucha Underground. I want to see Papa Cueto. You know,
hey, we got Dario back, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I need Dario Cueto. Yeah, Dario Cueto, fucking Papa Cueto.
Papa Cueto be like,
I'm like, yes, I'm drinking the Modelo. What do you want from me? You know?
And Dario's gonna walk around the temple. The fuck is all this beer doing in my temple?
Hold on for a second. I gotta address something. Zero. There is no way on God's green earth that the Lex Express will come back. Ever. Okay.
Unless they enter in an agreement with Rascal.
Oh my goodness.
Brutal.
Well, that's it. I hope everyone has a happy new year. Be safe. Everyone be safe out there, but have fun.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody have a happy
Zero.
Stay safe.
Yes, thank you, everyone in the chat.
Day, what's up?
Yeah, me, Double Y, Double H, Angie, Zero's the hero, and Smoke Poop every day. What's up?
What? What are y'all talking about? This Smoke Poop every day?
There's somebody in the chat named Smoke Poop every day.
Yeah.
Where'd y'all see this? I missed
So I'm
this.
saying what's up to Smoke Poop every day.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Smoke,
That's all I wanted
smoke
to say.
poop every day.
Yeah.
He just came by and said, "What's up?"
What's
Smoke
up? So I
poop
just want
every
to say
day. We
thanks for
tell you
listening.
thank
Thanks for hanging out and
you.
chat with us. And actually, thanks for indulging us this entire year.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you know, hopefully 2019 there'll be more fun. There'll be more wrestling talk. There'll be more pop culture talk. There'll be more kaiju talk. And definitely, in this part of the world, over on Markout Mania, we all scream out ECW. All right? How about that?
we will all be those fucking people who still chant ECW.
You got
Damn
that
right.
You fake Bray Wyatt motherfucker. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So we'll see y'all next time on Markout Mania.
Hey,
We're marking out for like it's the very first time.
Yeah, I'm dancing over here.
Markout Mania. Saturday morning. It's markout time.
Now. Yeah.
See y'all later. Adios.
Easy dub. Later, guys.